cop from Temu back at it again. So just before I get into my
content cop from Temu,
Jake Weddle, a lot has happened since my last video. After posting it, I got hundreds of messages from former MrBeast employees, and I had them all like send proof of former employment. You know, just people showing their support or telling their stories of you know, fake videos or unsafe practices, you know, toxic workplace, stuff like that. I'm not really going to get into those claims because, for one, like, most people want to stay anonymous, which I understand. Also, I heard from a very credible source that MrBeast has been sitting on a response to part 1 because he was worried if he posted it, I would instantly respond with part 2. You know, like this is Kids Bop, Kendrick Lamar.
I feel like MrBeast at this point has to say something. Like, I just keep hearing all of these like whataboutisms and, you know, stories from people like this, on the ground people, where they're just accusing him of things left and right. It's kind of crazy how he's still quiet. You know, like, for example, Cody Ko. He hasn't said shit.
Secret CEO has been practically like harassing my people on, you know, hey, what's in part 2? What does he know? So I will just tell you, James, what will be in part 3.
How dare you call yourself content cop, by the way?
It will be about serious allegations of sexual misconduct in the company and your direct involvement in covering up those crimes. And I'll make sure to give you full credit and plaster your face all over the screen when we talk about that. So yeah, I've gotten dozens of messages from former MrBeast employees of very serious allegations. So I just want to put a call to action at the start of this video that, you know, if you have a story, you can DM me. Just make sure you send proof of employment first, because I get a lot of DMs. As much as I meme and joke around, like, I take anonymity very seriously, so without explicit permission, I don't go public with anything. And obviously, if it goes to court, I would hope they would censor your information from the court documents. I don't know. Oh, and former contestants too. That's another thing I heard after posting my last video is during the 100 Boys versus Girls video, I have people corroborating the same story that the camera guy who gave the girls a drone was making some girls feel uncomfortable. You trap these girls in a circle and make them sleep on rough turf and get them high on paint fumes, and then you try to f them.
What?
Okay. That seems really dark.
No, it's not dark. You're misunderstanding me, bro.
I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
MrBeast production crew trapping 100 girls in a circle, depriving them of sleep, starving them, and trying to bang them.
Oh, I hope this is because if the girl said no, then the answer obviously is no.
No.
But the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
Oh, I forgot that scene.
That will be part 3, so, you know, MrBeast, do with that information what you will. I know Chucky didn't want to respond to those allegations. So anyway, my interview with Jake Weddle, I chose to interview him because I thought he was perfect because he was both on camera and behind the scenes.
Jake Weddle, isn't he an upcoming comedian?
2020. And also, what people don't know is that he came back in 2021 to be the sole contestant of a MrBeast video, which never got uploaded because it went very badly. He also knows about another portable document format who was working at MrBeast while actually on the registry.
Say a PDF, dude. Everybody knows what it is.
I'll get more into that story at the end of the video.
Dude, he hired a PDF?
Drove straight to New York overnight, did not sleep, just drank a bunch of caffeine, and I also only had one microphone in the interview, which he's wearing. So it's mostly just him talking. I'll also, like, final thing, retention thing, and say, the ending will blow your mind. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Jake Weddle, everybody.
I'm Jake Weddle. Most people who, if you know me from MrBeast, I'm a deep cut. I'm in a few of the videos, sometimes maybe purposefully kept to the shadows a little bit. I'm in the cutting room floor a lot of the time. But I've been in some videos. I've worked on a lot of them. I was there from 2019 to 2020, 2021-ish when I came back and did some more.
Yeah.
I was there.
No, I know this guy.
Authentic, and then I saw the transition to what
comedian.
I feel like is a company. He's like a TV show now. It went from YouTuber guy with a camera to Amazon. If you made Jimmy happy, you were on the good half. And these people got random bonuses and were usually moved up, had more screen time. And then there was people who, if you had a disagreement or butt heads with Jimmy or just you didn't like it, you know.
Oh, for sure, huge jump.
And have more of a.
Okay, right off the bat, I'm a little nervous about this guy being interviewed, like him choosing to interview Weddle, just because he is, you know, of the comedian variety. I'm concerned that he's not going to be taken very seriously. Like this last thing that he just did.
He didn't want anyone to. Okay. Oh, that feels so good to say. I don't like Jimmy. I hate you so much. He didn't want any.
See, like right there, that pan over, like makes me a little concerned that he's just not gonna be taken very seriously. But we'll see.
Anyone to get more popular or have more of a way out necessarily. Like, oh, I'm doing my Twitch thing on the side. Don't do that because you could get famous and leave and talk about me negatively. So I've talked to reporters, right? Like publicly. And I've always had to choose my words very, very carefully because I don't want to say anything I don't stand behind, obviously. So I used to
no one
talk
does.
to people. I used to glaze Jimmy publicly for things I do genuinely think are true. But then it's like, well, how come you didn't talk about the working conditions? Well, I wanted a career. I didn't want to, speak ill of YouTube's golden boy.
Okay,
and then I'm
I get
blacklisted
it.
forever. I tell people I was talking to you, and they go, "Don't, what are you doing? You're going to kill your career." It's like, I have to, or I'll be sad. This is...
Okay, jokes aside, like I think that can be seen as like a form of power in a way. Like I'm not saying that, MrBeast or Jimmy, I'll just call him Jimmy, was necessarily wielding something or dangling something, a form of power over his head in an effort to intimidate him. But as somebody who currently and has previously held lines of employment, there were a couple of moments in past jobs where I don't know why I didn't say anything, but I should have, because there were some questionable things that my manager did. Notably one or two, maybe three notable things that they did to me that I really should have spoken up to OSHA, like in hindsight. I didn't really think about it that much further because I was worried about keeping a job. And where I worked at the time, it's an at-will employment state, and it's very difficult to prove that you were fired for retaliatory purposes, or other discriminatory purposes. So I chose not to say anything out of fear of losing my job.
That's my covering up of why we didn't talk about XYZ sooner, but now you know. Worked on while I was there. This is the extent of the fakeness that I was involved to. This is like admitting to my complicity. I was a writer there, and we were working on a video, crushing my friend's car with a rock or meteor or something. It was a rock or meteor in the title of it, I can't remember, but he wanted to do a prank where, unbeknownst to the person, he takes a rock, crushes their car, and they're supposed to think the rock came out of space.
We're gonna take a meteor and we're gonna put it on Weddle's car. We're gonna take another meteor and put it on Marcus's car. Both of them have no idea that we're doing this. Weddle and Marcus are probably shocked. They had no idea.
And so that was the one and only time I had to, my car? What? And on the fly, I saw him, because Marcus was in that video. So Marcus is calling his mom. Marcus genuinely had no idea. He genuinely had no idea. But so Marcus is calling his mom, and his mom's freaking out. And I'm like, oh no, they're gonna call my mom next. So I had to text my mom, who had to beg to get the title very quickly. Now I'm texting my mom, I go, Mom, I'm about to call you about the meteor thing. You have no idea? Be surprised. And then I hit send, and then they go, call your mom now. And I call my mom and I tell her, and she should have got the Oscar. Oh my God, on the fly, she goes, what? I'm on vacation. Mom, my car has been destroyed.
Wait, what?
A meteor hit it.
I'm on vacation. Do you understand?
Yeah, I did that video, and they're supposed to give me $10K to put it down.
Certainly Oscar worthy.
On a new car, and they wanted me to get like a big flashy new car. $10K was supposed to be a down payment. And I can't afford a big flashy new car because I work at MrBeast. So I couldn't get anything. I couldn't put taxes on.
He seems a little nervous still. Sharing this information.
I do my part of the video, and I get a mom van that I could afford. And Jimmy was like, "Why didn't you get a cooler car?" I was like,
mom vans can be expensive. Okay, don't knock that price tag.
I can't afford that, bro. Come on, what are you talking about? If I was working on a TV show in the '90s. On a show that was a quarter as successful, I could retire today. But now I make dog shit pay, making gajillionaires more money. And I just walked into the writer's room. And that's one of the reasons why I left, was because I just walked in there and asked for not necessarily a gajillion dollars, but maybe a salary that was more proportional to the work I was doing, given how much revenue that work was doing. And then, I talked about that, and I talked about the Writers Guild and how this is what Writers Guild industry standard is for the streaming internet content with ads. I thought that was the closest thing to YouTube, and I didn't even bring up residuals because, oh my God, if I got residuals for every video I worked on, boy, howdy, I could retire. But yeah, the other thing I talked about was there was another writer there, older comic, black guy. He had a kid, and I got paid more than him, and I thought that was wild because he was older than me, had a child. We're doing the exact same job, and I'm some 20-year-old fucking white guy. Why am I getting paid more than him? I brought that up, and one of the things I didn't like about the way some of the Beast stuff shook out was
very long-winded. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
I feel really guilty about the way this shook out. Yeah, I was talking to this other writer, it's fucked up, that's how the pay is, and I want you to get paid more, because you deserve to get paid more. I don't have a kid. And he didn't want to rock the boat. He desperately didn't want to rock the boat. He's just, I like my job. I like, because when you grow up with, nothing, not to say that he did, but I know I did, You get a little something, you don't want to lose it. So he didn't want to rock the boat.
Oh, I've been there, buddy.
But he said, hey, man, if that's how you feel, if that's, I trust you. He stood with me. He went to that meeting with me.
God, my sad face looks
and
like...
I said my piece, and he backed me up. I said, I need X, Y, Z, or I'm out of here.
My sad face looks like I just watched somebody take a fat shit somewhere. What do you mean you took a shit there? Oh...
Me, I was over the moon. I was like, you're gonna give me a check and I get to leave? I don't get to deal with the how many Orbeez can I fit up my asshole every day, And I get to go home and you're gonna pay me to leave. I was over the moon.
Obviously he's joking, but
And he was devastated. He did not want. I said, he just wanted to be in the room,
Aww.
And I really regret that. But, me and him are really still tight. We're still good friends.
I don't even know specifically, what he thinks he's done. But it's probably... And I think we can all empathize with something like this. Where you did something that was morally the correct thing to do. And it just caused a ripple effect to nearby people. And... it ended up with negative consequences for you and said, people affected by the ripple. Man, that sucks.
Is he doing good? Yeah, he's doing good. He's a good guy. I love that guy. He's doing good. Yeah.
So maybe you'll still better?
Honestly, best thing I could have done for him. Now that he's very, very far removed from all this crazy shit, I guess.
Do you think Jimmy really enjoys doing good and helping people?
I think Jimmy wants to be the best YouTuber. I think he is laser focused on one goal. Whatever
I think that's a fair assessment, considering all the videos that Jimmy pumps out.
He'll do. And I think it was the smartest decision for him that he calculated, because he's very good with numbers. If I donate to charity, people can't say I'm shitty. If I give this homeless guy 10K, what do you mean I'm a bad guy? But I've always thought, if you're going to do something nice for somebody and you stick a camera in their face while you do it, you didn't do a nice thing for somebody. You gained something. There was a homeless guy on the street and you saw an opportunity for yourself and your image, and you gave one guy $10,000 who needed it to eat, and now the revenue you generated from that video is way more than what you gave. I think when he's generous on camera, it's the least authentic thing in the world. There's an element of, oh, hey, you're crying. That's so good for camera. I'm so glad if you're crying because you're so thankful that you got XYZ, and then you go, oh, I'm so glad he needed it that bad so I could come in and, can you cry more? Oh, it's so good for the camera if you...
So... there has always been a sense of inauthenticity that I felt from MrBeast videos. That's the number one reason why I strayed away from watching a majority of his videos. There are some that I tuned into, but he's a YouTube video pumper. He just locks and loads them out like there's no tomorrow. He knows how to optimize his SEO to a T, whether it's like for his own brand. I don't even know if he does anything for his, I mean, he supposedly does stuff for his friends, but it's almost always on camera, so it's hard to tell if it's actually a net good that he's doing. And there was a comment that I remember Batsy saying, like, the last time that we were briefly covering MrBeast stuff, is that overall the service that MrBeast is providing is a net positive. Like, it's overall showing kids that doing good things is good. Like, overall, that's the overarching message. But maybe it's just the jadedness of being an adult that I just already see through it like a guy's. You know, and aside from hearing all of the little comments from people saying that Jimmy is actually a raging asshole or whatever, like outside of his own content, it's just really difficult for me to believe that everything that he does, much like he wants people to believe, is altruistic. I don't believe that it's altruism what he's doing. He always expects something in return, and that something is reactions. And from that, he ends up generating, you know, more for his content farm. It's ultimately just like really disappointing because, like, I'm too empathetic to a T. I see his side of like, okay, yeah, you want to be the best that you can be at your craft. You're good at making videos. You want to do overall, you want a net positive effect over people. But on the other side, you're always filming it and trying to stick cameras in their faces when you get genuine reactions from people. And overall, you're just looking to make the next buck. Like, that's what the entirety of your content is. So is it really a net good that he's providing in the world? It's too much to me. It's too much in limbo. Like, I'm trying to round myself out better by watching things like this while also not becoming too biased on one side, like on either side, really. I want to believe that he's a good person. I mean, everybody wants to see the good in other people. But the stories that I keep hearing about how he treats his workers and how a lot of these stunts and skits are put about, it's just not adding up to a net positive.
Well, it made me uncomfortable that I was working there, and I didn't like it, and I vocalized it sometimes, and I think that's why I wasn't on camera as much as they said I was going to be. I was told at one point that I was going to be like fourth banana, you know, it was going to be Jimmy, Chris, Chandler, me, you know, and then that never happened. And I remember talking about that, like, hey, I thought my contract said XYZ. And then I got the severance checks, so, you know, whatever, how that regard.
So
he actually got let go. He got severance checks. Holy shit.
How was your relationship with the company? I know you appeared in videos after that, right?
Right, so in videos where I was appearing in later, that's why you keep...
Is this that first video against Beast? No, this is technically the follow-up video. This is the latest one.
Nice publicly. If you're nice in public, hey, Jake was nice in public, let's have him back for something. You know, yeah, sure. So I was hoping they call back, you know? And I appeared in some videos after I left. I think one of them was 3 days in a maximum security prison. If I did do mini challenges in that, I got paid. I was, you know, clocked in with a rate, and I would get paid and compensated for those. But
didn't the first one get debunked? I don't know if it got debunked. Just because Jimmy hasn't really said anything about it. And I think this follow-up video is from the same guy who posted that first one. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the entirety of the lore. I'm just breaking this video up like as I see it, because it's like, it's a complex situation.
One video I was in, I got paid a lot for it, but it didn't come out. It didn't come out because it didn't go well.
No, like the first video, he had a boss and the boss made a post. I feel like I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there are bits and pieces that I do remember seeing of that follow-up video, but I don't think that necessarily discredits the entirety of it. I think if anything, it was somebody from Jimmy's team sent to discredit them, And I think in the end, it ended up just looking like a bad look. That it kind of just ended up being chalked up to an effort to silence this dog pack person. So dog pack, in a follow-up response, is interviewing somebody who had longevity on the Beast team.
Video that came out probably like a year ago, something like that. It got a lot of hot water when it came out. It was the like surviving like $10,000 every day you survive in solitary, or surviving solitary for whatever. It was like one of those solitary confinement videos that got a lot of media attention because everybody saw the premise and thought, what? You shouldn't do that. And people don't know that was the second attempt. The first attempt was on me, and it didn't go well.
Oh, this looks like a pretty serious moment.
I was.
To be frank, I've rarely ever cared about this stuff, so I only know what pops up on me feed. Yeah, no, I feel that. Like I said, I've been trying to catch up and wrap my head around the entirety of the situation, but so far, like, the meta discussion of this whole thing is like, it doesn't really seem like Jimmy treated his employees very well, ultimately, in these skits that he had outlined. The argument of whether or not what MrBeast is doing is a net positive or a net negative, it's, in my opinion, it's kind of leaning in the net negative. What he's demonstrating, like the ultimate demonstration that is coming out of his performances, it looks terrible. That's like where I'm leaning.
I was already planning on moving to New York, and I worked at a couple of YouTube
I mean, he cares more about views than anything
and I had a little bit of
else.
change in my pocket, the most change I had in my pocket ever. Small potatoes, compared to Beast bullshit. But I thought I had enough to move to New York or whatever. And I get a call from somebody over there, and they go, "Hey, they want you for a video." I was like, "Oh, amazing, great, cool, thank God." What's the video? And they tell me the pitch. And they try to make the pitch sound like it's going to be like a walk in the park. The pitch is 100 days in solitary confinement.
What?
But don't worry, like you only have to last like 30. We have like a video. They're pitching it like at first it's going to be like a luxury vacation. You're going to have like a hot tub and an ice cream machine. And like part of the video is going to be you deciding like what items am I going to get rid of today, and it's like the choice. They were like it's only going to be bad for maybe the last like 5 days tops when you have like nothing left. You're the first. It's going to be like a breeze for most of it, and by the end of it, after 30 days,
I already don't like it.
$300,000 because it's $10,000 a day, and I don't know, man. I grew up poor in North Carolina. I said, excuse me. I'll dance for you if you put that kind of money in my face, sure. They were like, you're going to be locked in this room, and we got to make sure you're on all the time. We're going to have cameras on you all the time, and you're perfect for this because you never shut the fuck up. On paper, I was like, okay, I can do this, and I was. They always.
100 days solitary is easy.
And that was, editors have told me that it's because you have too much of a personality.
It depends.
And so
It depends on the person.
That I held my tongue and I swallowed my pride and I tried to do one last ride, and I get there, and at first it's fine, and I mean they had just freshly painted the set. You could smell it, which that's probably not good, the smell of
I'm
fresh
not
paint
saying
in
that.
your surroundings for the next XYZ time. It looked good on the visual. Like it looks good on camera. It's movie magic bullshit. It was a terrible facility. I mean, it was in one of the studios. They had to get a separate tank for septic stuff. There was a hot tub in it. Yeah, there was an ice cream machine. Things were cool and funny on paper, but when you think about stuff,
when you're actually in the solitary confinement, I feel like it's totally a different story.
Filtration system. Give it 3 days, it's gonna stink. There's not a hot water mechanism, so the hot tub was a lukewarm tub at best, which was a silly complaint, but the shower was always cold, and you're taking a quick shower, and I had cameras 24/7 on me, and the ice cream machine, let's talk about that for a second. The ice cream machine has 2 modes, on, and off, reeking of smelly dairy, mildew, so I got to choose which sense was assaulted at a time. I couldn't have all of the good. So the little things started to build up. There was the bug thing wasn't terrible, but it was a factor. And at first it was fine, and you're playing it up because it's a video. And it got to a point where like they weren't turning the lights off. You know, I asked them, I said, can we like have like nighttime hours? And they said,
That's
no,
reasonable.
because it would fuck up the time lapse shots. The time lapse of what? Me sleeping? Or me not sleeping? Yeah, I saw in other videos they did like, oh, you're gonna get XYZ hours of sunlight. Oh, great! Want to know how they figured that one out? I didn't have it.
What the fuck?
One of the things was you got to take away your clock, so you didn't know what time it was. Okay, I got no access to sun. I got no access to clock. I don't know, like, the lights are on me all the time. I wasn't sleeping. I could not sleep, and I have insomnia problems now. But they might have started there. I had good people looking out for me.
I think the very least that they could have done is like hidden a clock, you know, somewhere out of sight of, you know, where the cameras were pointed. Like a really tiny one. Like, come on. You make how much money overall? You can't afford a really teeny tiny little clock for him to at least be able to tell what time it is? Come on.
I had a lot of good people looking out for me saying, this we gotta stop. So I just wanted to turn the lights off. And I'm vocalizing to people, I wish the lights would turn off. And I go up to my friend, my good friend.
Sure, but like if you're trying to keep track of your sleep schedule, the body can attune itself like naturally, but also it does rely on, you know, the normalcy of a schedule. Oh, okay.
I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what?
I got
That's
you,
a war
Wes.
crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists.
Any type of mental or sleep deprivation can
Oh, good. 24 hours breaking the Geneva Convention, I guess, is what we're doing. You know, they're giving me, you know, melatonin. You know, it's not helping. You know, and then Jimmy would come in like every other day for like an hour, you know, to check in on me because he's doing other stuff. You know, I'm just the guy in the cage over here. He'll come back to me in a minute.
The guy in the cage.
And so he'd come by, he'd get the shots, he'd leave. Sometimes he'd have a note from the director over the phone. That would really piss me off. This is a note I got from the director, from Jimmy, when I'm receiving some cash. He said, Jimmy said, can you say to the camera how thankful you are that now you can pay back your student loans?
What?
Cash. He said, Jimmy said, can you say to the camera how thankful you are that now you can pay back your student loans?
That doesn't seem cool at all. Like, are there vids of him doing the challenge? No, the videos didn't end up being getting published. They scrapped the project after it was done. That's what this guy is explaining. So he did all of this and it just ended up getting scrapped. He said that he got fired and he got severance pay. So there's something extra fucky-wucky going on afterwards.
They pretend to make it genuine.
Pretend to make it genuine?
I don't want to have student loans. I don't want to be in a cage.
I don't want student loans either.
With the money, and if you do what he says, he'll do what you want. You want your student loans paid off? You just be in this cage. And you have power over people. When one person doesn't have resources and the other one does, and they hold it over your head, and you go, of course, yeah, I agreed to it.
I
needed it, of course. Just something about like having the cameras on me all the time. Like I was not having a good time, but we were filming a video, so I was trying my best to be funny. You know, I'm a dark comic. You know, I got bits about. I had a very traumatic life. I have my dad is in jail for sexual assault of a minor. You know, so this kind of stuff is very near to my heart. You know, I don't fuck around with this shit. Yeah, I have jokes about that in my act. You know, I joke about it because that's what you do in a traumatic experience. You know, abusive relationships. I get out of it. The first thing I do is I do a type-line about it. You know, so I'm in this situation where my mental health is not good. My physical health is getting worse. But we're filming, so I'm doing bits. I'm talking to the camera, and I'm being, you know, like, hey, it's been a couple days. I'm not doing so hot. You know, which if I'm filming a video, that's what I should be doing for the camera. But it was too real. If they're faking videos, why couldn't we fake this one? You know, if we're allowed to let these cast members have some time off of this difficult.
I gotta say, Jimmy, allegedly, according to this story, going back to the director and telling him to tell this guy, could you please, to the camera, let us know how thankful you are for like what's going on here so that you can pay off your student loans, is the most bootlicking grovelry I have ever heard. I can't pull myself away like from that comment. That it like, okay, yeah, you voluntarily are doing something for money, but it's because of that reason that you have to tread lightly when you're working with, I'll just use this word because it's like the quickest thing in mind. When you're working with peasants, people that don't typically have the level of wealth that you have or that you're generating, and they don't know that kind of money. You just don't. It's such a bad look for you to just turn around and say shit like that, because you're literally just rubbing salt in their wound for no good reason other than adding to your content.
Challenge. How come we couldn't turn the lights off? How come we couldn't maybe not have some time-lapse footage for 10 seconds?
Did you try to get out?
Yes!
Even if it's a listing, like a link.
I was starting to calculate, I don't know if I could do 30. How much can I...
Because I don't know what that looks like.
Get out of here sooner and still have a video and still have some cash and get the plug, man. I did... Since we were doing time-lapse shots, and since they insisted on time-lapse shots, I said, all right, we're gonna do time-lapse shots back. I put my YouTube on with the whiteboard they gave me. And I was like, all right, yeah, go ahead and scrub that footage. You know, you got that whiteboard. Oh no, either that goes in, or this footage is unusable, and then, you know, James Warren came in and erased it, you know, fucking, you know, don't put that, hey, we can torture him, don't you dare let him get a plug in there, you know?
That's ridiculous.
Like, we were playing up the joke, you know, it's like, I'm the boy in the cage, you know.
At the very least, you can't fucking give him a plug when he's...
There's just something weird about when Jimmy jokes. I have jokes about my dad because I love jokes with my dad. I'll joke about my dad all the time. I guess piece of shit. I hate my dad. But I have friends that make fun of my dad. That's fine, because I know their intent. I know where they're coming from. When Jimmy joked with my dad, and I started to see weird. I don't like it. And I don't know if there's footage of this. I don't know if, I definitely didn't make the final cut. But he says to me, all right, you're going to jail, like your dad. And like, that's just not okay. That is not okay to joke about. What the fuck? How insensitive can you be? Like, that's his shtick. He did not give you permission to joke about that. That's his shtick, not Jimmy's. Jesus.
But when my friends do it, it's fine, and Jimmy just wasn't my friend. He was my boss. And that wasn't cool. And so now, I'm locked in a cage at his whim. And I have to do things to get the cash I need.
Like, if they were friends, I'd be cool with it. But because they have, like, a professional relationship, that's just not something that your employer should be joking about. You know, think about your regular 9-to-5 job and, like, whoever your manager is or the CEO, and they just say something out of pocket like that. Does that make that any better? No, it doesn't. I don't want my fucking manager saying shit like that to me. Catching hands, bro, I'd be hauling my ass to HR. No, you know what? Fuck that, because they'd probably fire me and try and retaliate. That's just fucked up. That is not cool conduct.
To live. And I got these cameras on.
I love how when I in my chair, whenever I like recline back, you can tell.
And I was unwell. I had editors coming up to me saying, "You good, bud?" And I was like, "Yeah, why? You're clearly unwell." And he goes, "Well,
yeah,
the footage you're sending in is haunting." Because I'm trying to be funny, but I am mentally decaying, so I'm doing bits. Someone said there is a horror cut of a video.
Yeah, and like you know, the reason that his dad went to jail is because he was convicted of sexual assault. So it's just an additional layer. It's a package deal type of joke. Like if he went to jail for like a misdemeanor, like weed, which I can't believe is still whatever, like that adds different context. Yeah, his dad went to jail for conviction of sexual assault. So yeah, it's just layers of fucked up.
This, and I'm saying, like, who's watching this? Like, who wants to see this? What is fun about this? The video. And so the thing that made me I gotta get out. I can't do another day in a year. Jimmy comes in.
Yeah, and it was against a minor.
I'm asleep. I don't know what time it is. I was like 2 or 3 or whatever. He's like, why is he sleeping? I don't know, because I can't sleep. And he comes in, he wakes me up. And he goes, ask me why I have 2 briefcases. And I'm like, why do you have 2 briefcases? And he goes, oh, because this one's for today, you know, and this one's for the challenge. And I go, what's the challenge today? He goes, you're gonna run a marathon.
What?
You're gonna do the 22.6K, whatever it is. And you're gonna do it on that treadmill over there.
What?
The first challenge I did was a Rubik's Cube, and I'm dyslexic. I'm dumb. I don't know how to do a Rubik's Cube.
I don't know how to do it either. It's okay.
Rubik's Cube. I was like, oh, I don't want to do it. I was like, on camera. I don't want to do it. He goes, just do it for the thing. Like, kid, you know? Like, there was an element of, oh, Jake will do what we want because he's in house. You know, that's one of the reasons why they got me. Jake's he's an inside guy, so he'll do whatever. We can push him a little extra hard because we know he's good. I couldn't say no to the treadmill thing. Yeah. So I people who run marathons train forever, and it's still hard. Again, writer. Do I look like I run? I don't run, you know? Let alone a marathon, let alone that training for it. So I was in a sunlightless, you know.
Did you try to say no? Like, did you have a choice, or?
Based on the Rubik's Cube thing and based on all the other stuff, like there was so much pressure to just do it, just do the thing, you know?
I do appreciate how he immediately just asks, like, the point blank question of, why didn't you just say no? Like, did you have the option to even say no? Like, being so far in on this challenge. I appreciate that he asks something like that. Although it's halfway through this video.
Yep. And if I refuse, it's just, well, that's the whole video. I guess the budget's, you know, so much money up in flames because Jake said he wouldn't want to do the thing.
That's an enormous amount of pressure.
I wanted to be a good sport, and no one says no to Jimmy. And I want the cash, and so I started running at 12. I was able to take some breaks, and I asked him, how long do I have? He goes, until I get back. Yeah, I'm running until 3 a.m. I got off the treadmill.
3 a.m.? Dude, that's torture.
The blisters I had on my feet were like, you wouldn't believe, just all over, just these big red. I couldn't walk. My muscles were like just the lactic acid. I got off the treadmill, and then the people that came in to like ice my feet, you know, make sure I was good. Then that's when I was like, I'm done. I can't. I'm done. I'm out.
God damn.
And that's when get psych in.
You know, I'm just now realizing this, but it adds, like, earlier on when I mentioned about, like, taking him seriously because he's an up-and-coming comedian and a writer, and I'm just now realizing that his shirt says www.poop.org. However, these stories are heartbreaking. Don't mistake that.
And I talked to Psych about how I'm not well.
I'm just noticing the poop shirt.
Good people over there that was saying, you gotta pull him out.
I don't look at tits.
I had friends.
I look at the face.
And,
can't say much for you fuckers.
Yeah, everyone knows you over there. Everybody loves you. They go, oh, Jake Weddle, love that guy. Shame what happened to him. Like I'm a ghost. And I asked him, I said, how much longer are you guys going to keep me in here? And the guy goes, realistically, like at least 7 more days? No. And they didn't let me leave right away either. They wanted to make sure, everything was fine. So I just, slept for a while. They turned the lights off.
They finally turned the lights off.
It's like they brought in all my friends, to make it. they brought it on people I liked and Jimmy. Then everybody was around me making sure I was good, making sure I was okay. But Jimmy had his he was sitting in the chair turned around like an evil villain. Swear to God, everyone was looking at me and he was like Lex Luthor over there. He turns around, he stands up. He does the exact same thing when he's pretending to have a human connection. You know when you're watching a video and he's like, oh, stop, you're gonna make me cry. And he like touches his eye or whatever as if he's crying. He's just... I didn't have to pretend to do that shit. She says, as if rehearsed by his lawyers. Yeah, your mental health's the most important thing. I just want to make sure you're okay. And the last thing we want you to do is... I can almost hear the word sue come out of his mouth. The S. He just stopped right before it got out.
We don't want you to sue us.
I did not yet.
That's torturous
The 300K.
behavior.
What I got. He goes, think of it this way. At least you get to keep what you earned. You were in there for XYZ days. You did XYZ challenges, so you got, 100,000 some change, give or take. You know how much money I spent in taxes in 2021? I spent $44,000 in taxes alone. And now I spent all that money on doing stand-up. I bought.
As somebody who works in taxes, I can't help but wonder, did this dude not have any deductions? Because if you're just paying the flat tax, I'm saying this as somebody who has experience working on somebody in a similar situation who makes around that figure. 40 some odd K in taxes alone. I mean, it's not totally out of the question, but I can't help but wonder, I don't know. I'm just thinking about the semantics. So I can pay you to do my taxes. I mean, yeah, that's the other half of my business.
Plane tickets to go do comedy festivals.
I do taxes for people.
My family back home, I gave them a bunch of stuff that they needed. And haven't been back on a Beast set in any official capacity or unofficial capacity since then. And then they did the video with somebody else, and they worked out the kinks. And then I'd still gotten some hot water, and I knew it would. And I've wanted to say a lot of this for a long, long, long time. And
having a VTuber do your taxes sounds like a list from a bucket. I am a real person, sir, with real feelings.
I feel good though. That's how you get that out there.
So I just want to hop in here and show some text that Jake sent me after this interview. This is July 29, 2021, a few days.
How you feeling after a few days? Better. I still couldn't sleep even after a few days out, but I almost have my sleep cycle back on track. My legs and joints are good. The blisters on my feet still hurt to walk on. Medical advice I got was not to lance them and just let them go away with time. Lance them like boils? I'm mentally still in an uneasy place, but I've gotten back on BetterHelp. I don't trust BetterHelp. My therapist is a little concerned, but we're on work. Okay.
After you got out of solitary. How are you feeling after a few days? Better. Points are good. Lance, I've gotten back on BetterHelp. It's supposed to be a traumatic life event. This is supposed to be a MrBeast video. Hey Jake, hope you're doing okay. Meg and I just wanted to check in on you. Hey, I'm good and I appreciate that. I'm not exactly 100%. I feel like mentally I'm still recovering a bit, but back in therapy and my therapist is concerned. Haha, but my legs and joints feel better, like I can walk, but my feet are still covered on those blisters and those hurt to walk on. But I was told the best thing to do is stay off my feet and let them heal. I'm in Raleigh with my family. Also, it'll be like a month before I get the money, and they aren't giving me all the money. They're giving me what I won up to that point in the game, which was also a slap in the face, but hey, I'm out, I'm alive. Therapist who knows and cares about you. The whole thing was so fucked, and honestly, fuck them for not giving you the money. Meg and I are wishing you the best with your recovery, and please feel free to reach out if you need anyone to talk to or need a place to crash in New York. Hope you're doing well, man. That video you uploaded is money. So good. I appreciate. I'm doing better physically. Mentally, I'm still kind of in a place. I still can't sleep. I've slept 5 hours in the past 3 days, marathon included. I don't know what's wrong with me. Lots of thinking, too much one might say. Hope they're taking care of you where they can. I mean, I was kind of shocked they didn't pay me for the full 25, 30 days. They paid me what I made up to that point. Like, even when we have to pull the plug for my mental health, the mechanism of the game is still at play. I'm just happy to be out.
Yeah,
I still
5
can't walk
hours
well,
in the
but it
past
hurts
3
less.
days.
And like,
My
I'm not
God.
famous enough to burn a bridge. So at the end of the day,
Yeah, why weren't there off-camera breaks? That's crazy. Not only did they not even do like a basic courtesy of turning off the lights when he wanted to sleep, which helps the sleep cycle, they also just like didn't give him off-camera breaks. They actually tried to do a straight through filming. Bro, fuck the immersion. You can easily edit all of that. Everything that Jimmy and everybody on this fucking YouTube platform is like, it's edited to shit. There's no excuse. Unless they were doing it live, like, no excuse. I know.
Carl and he did that to me, I'd ruin him.
I'm adding commentary for my own YouTube video.
And they want to do it again. That could be your leverage. If the guy breaks down also, 2 is better than 1. Yeah, right. I told them everything they did to me that they can't do again in order to make sure the other person doesn't break down as fast. But like, the way the video is meant to function is the problem. It's a bad idea, full stop. It sounds clickbaity, sounds right up Jimmy's alley, but it's morally unethical, like on every level.
Yeah, well, you know what? Mommy is tired of you little shits sometimes.
Camera breaks, lights off at night, visitation, take the marathon out. Marathon is a video in itself. You can't expect someone to exert themselves like that for 45 seconds of content. The challenges really made it feel dehumanizing. Felt like a parody of MrBeast. I felt like the homeless guy they could exploit. It felt like if Jeff Bezos had a GIMP. It felt like if Jeff Bezos had a GIMP. Part of me wants the footage burned, and part of me thinks that there's a great horror cut in there. LMAO, he was so fake when he came in and said he cared about my mental health. They must have programmed the care about mental health updates. He said, we also don't want you to... And I swear to our Lord and Savior, he stopped himself from saying sue. Also, as far as like, he could have said no, he could have left at any time. I want to show this segment from an internal document at MrBeast called How to Succeed in MrBeast Production. Specifically on page 19, there's a paragraph called No does not mean no.
What?
Already insane, because it seems to be co-opting the popular...
When dealing with people outside MrBeast Productions, never take a no at face value. If we need a store to buy everything inside of and you call a local Dollar Tree and the person that answers says, no, you can't film here, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans or have any kids that are fans. Try talking to their boss's boss, have me DM them. Oh my God. If all avenues are exhausted and you're left with a no, that doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees, because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically what I'm trying to convey is what we call, quote, pushing through no. Don't just stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted. This is one of the many tools that, when combined, dramatically improve your probability of success when producing here.
Slogan, which is a terrible look given the allegations that are going to be coming out very soon. It reads, when person to work success when produced. And the way that it manifests itself a lot of the time is like, a director might tell a producer, hey, we need access to 30 acres of farmland by Tuesday or we lose $500,000. Now, if you're the producer, you obviously know that means get it done or you lose your job. So what can happen is like a producer's calling up farmers saying, hey, I need to use your land. And the farmer might be like, okay, but you know, I have animals, you can't be making really loud noises, no pyrotechnics, and you got to clean everything up. So the producer is sort of incentivized to lie and say, or maybe the producer doesn't even actually know the total contents of the video, right? Things changed last second. So they're they're financially incentivized to be manipulative and sort of, they're put in positions where it's like, oh, it's either the producer's job or a civilian's job.
Big time flexing that power.
About, hey, maybe the manager would be willing to bend the rules. Well, you shouldn't really be pressuring civilians to bend the rules. That could get them fired, you know? Yeah. I'll show you a real life example. This is unused evidence from part 1. I had seen this Reddit post titled MrBeast leaving trash behind and debris at film site in Ayden, North Carolina. Apparently he left a large boat in a pond as well as debris around the film site in the bottom of the pond weeks and weeks after the agreed time frame.
What?
This actually rendered it unsafe for campers and almost delayed the camp's opening date multiple times due to not
I live around MrBeast area and have been hearing lots of talk about him leaving trash and debris behind at previous filming locations. I know someone very closely who works at the camp where he filmed a few of his last videos that featured destruction and some explosions. Apparently, he left a large boat in the pond as well as debris around the film site and the bottom of the pond weeks and weeks after the agreed time frame. This actually rendered it unsafe for campers and almost delayed the camp's opening date multiple times due to not being able to get in contact with MrBeast to get the stuff cleaned up and out of the area. Eventually, the boat and most of the debris was removed after constantly asking him when and if he would come out to clean it up. There's still lots of items that can be found at the bottom of the pond if you dive. This has kind of left a bad taste in my mouth as the camp is a Christian organization and asked for no money or publicity and also aren't the type to say anything negative about the experience publicly. I know personally that this caused lots of stress on staff leaders and the owners of the camp and was mostly a negative experience for them. That blows. I guess I'm just curious if anyone else has heard about this or knows if he has history doing this kind of thing. Just seems very unprofessional from someone at this level with his image. And at his age, you'd think he'd act a bit better.
Not being able to get in contact with MrBeast, he called Protect the Yacht, Keep It, where at the end of that video, he actually says...
And if you're wondering, yes, we did ensure the lake was completely cleaned up after this video. For the love of God, subscribe so we can pass T-Series.
Yeah, so he says at the end of the video that they made sure it was cleaned up. I was actually on site for part of this production. I was at this camp. So I decided to send an email out to the camp, basically saying, hey, I heard these rumors. I'm investigating a similar incidents. And the camp responded, actually not denying these rumors.
Name is James, currently investigating incidents involving production practices. Unfortunately, I heard this is not an isolated incident. Thanks for reaching out. We have been hard at work. They took their job very seriously. Working with producers was a blessing. Oh. I am sure that there are no perfect film productions, just as there are no perfect people. I'm grateful for the opportunity that we had to host the production crew, and because grace has been offered to me so freely, I will choose to offer the same. Thank you for reaching out. We're now focusing on finishing out a great summer camp season and are not interested in discussing this any further. Huh.
I'm investigating
interesting
similar
how it stops after a certain
point. And the camp responded,
point.
actually not denying the claims, going on to say, I am sure that there are no perfect film productions, just as there are no perfect people. I am grateful for the opportunity offered. If you're around Greenville, you know these stories of people working with MrBeast and it being extremely unprofessional, them not doing what they say. But they sort of get by a lot on their good public image. And like, I mean, this camp offered to host them completely for free. And I guarantee, like, if you went to the lake at the camp and you went magnet fishing, like, you'd find all sorts of debris that's still there to this day.
Magnet fishing.
They didn't clean it all up. So in the case of Jake Weddle, like, I'm sure that there were producers who were in a position of, hey, if Jake gets out early, we don't have a video and your job is at risk. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure on top of, like, him being delirious from not sleeping and everything to just manipulate him into staying.
Right.
Which, you know, I'm sure this isn't like technically against the Geneva Convention on torture because he wasn't technically a prisoner. Like, he could have left at any time, but because of the extreme pressure to stay in, it's not really a reasonable expectation that he could have just
reasonable response
because of the implication.
Because of the
I
implication.
think Jimmy is a awkward kid who maybe had it a little rough growing up. I can't speak on that, but I do have empathy for it because I had it rough growing up. And I think when you're hyper fixated on something, like I love stand-up, he loves YouTube, everyone fixates on a thing, I think he just wanted to be the best YouTuber so bad, and because the industry's metrics rewarded some not great behavior, if you're just going on autopilot based on what the numbers say, you can do some things that maybe aren't good but reap reward. And I think Jimmy just did what the industry and maybe what this system that we have set up demanded, and he didn't care who got hurt. And I think Jimmy surrounded himself.
I don't know if he didn't care who got hurt. I don't think that safety was at the forefront of what was most important to him. I think that's a much better analysis.
Was really, really
not so great people.
He's more
and
focused
those
on the
people were the ones
content.
making the decisions. And I want to say, really important, there are so many good people that work at MrBeast who are damn good at their jobs. Like, when Jimmy comes in and asks for something impossible, it's these people's jobs to do it. And they shouldn't be able to make it happen, and they do. And so, I don't think people wanted to talk about stuff because I didn't want my friends to lose their jobs. I don't care about my fucking job. I'll die in a hole. I don't care. But I don't want my friends to lose their jobs. You know?
Empathetic guy.
I don't want anyone's reputation to be fucked. You know? But let's just go back to my dad for a second, if I may. My dad was like a swim coach, neighborhood swim team. Everybody loved it. Behind closed doors, he's a real piece of shit. And so, when stuff started hitting the fan, what? Him? No! Surely! And then, everyone, thought my mom was the bitch, for not, But then the news broke, that he did what he did to one of the students of the team. And it's like when that comes out, you're not surprised, You just go. When I saw my dad in the news, I said, "Oh, you idiots!" Like I was like, "No," I was, "Oh, dumbass, god damn it!" But I wasn't surprised, and it was just consequences happening to somebody who was really good at avoiding them for a long time. And I don't know, everybody loves Jimmy, and behind closed doors, he is not super great, and that image is cultivated purposefully and intentionally, and it's branding, it's marketing, it's YouTube.
Okay, so
It's YouTube.
Just one final question. On
Sure.
a serious note.
Tagline.
Obviously, the Ava Chris Tyson drama, and that's a known issue of traditional media. Did you witness or hear about any sexual misconduct at the company?
It's crazy. I probably hung out with Ava the most out of the main cast. Just
Really?
because I was on Beast Hacks. Now Beast Reacts. I don't know if it's still out. That was a lot of fun because it was just being silly and goofy in front of the camera. And Ava was the only person who was willing to film. Everybody else was too busy or didn't want to, and I was just trying to do my job. Sometimes there'd be like an offhanded joke that's a little gross. I mean, I'm a stand-up, so I'm very desensitized to that. I didn't hear anything that was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like when I saw, the reason I messaged you instead of talking to reporters sweetly like I have been was when I saw the Discord stuff. Because when I got there, it was like 2019. So I guess if the timelines add up, that would have been like handled, for lack of a better term. And then they started bringing more people on. Maybe they thought they had that under the rug. All right, we handled that. Now let's bring in some writers. And when I saw it, all that stuff start coming out, and the potentiality, as of this moment of recording. I know this has been happening fast, and stuff has been coming out so fast. Just the potential that Jimmy could have been in those Discord chats, or even the potential that he participated in those Discord chats.
I mean, he's proximally involved, I
After
think.
the shit he did to me. If you're gonna make fun of my dad, I don't care what happens to me and my career and reputation after this. I had to say some stuff. So whatever happens at this point.
Outside of Ava Chris Tyson, did you notice any or hear about any sexual misconduct at the company?
I've heard rumors. I can't confirm or deny anything. I don't have any tangible evidence, but I've heard stuff that if it could be investigated, that'd be great. But it's like water cooler talk. But I've heard things, yes, of course.
Water cooler talk.
I heard, people have been let go for sexually assaulting some very young people. The idea that Jimmy didn't know, or that Jimmy was covering stuff up. He didn't want stuff to come out. He's very careful about his image.
Certainly
You have
is.
tangible proof that he knew but covered it up. How do you prove that,
Well, there was a known sex offender, registered sex offender, convicted sex offender on the registry and everything who worked there.
Really?
And like you can, someone pees in public, you're on the registry, you get it.
They did that on purpose. They must be hiding like, he may have been like
that's one thing.
Mouthing the name or something.
That's one thing. Like if you do your time, that's fine. I think there should be rehabilitation in this country. But that guy, from what I hear, I can't confirm or deny, from what I hear, he's on the registry for doing some not great stuff to some underage people.
What?
I knew that. And he's working at a channel that has underage people on and around and is targeted to underage people.
Bro, that is not okay.
And they covered up the fact that not only did he work there, but he was like the manager when it all started. And that he knew, and because
I don't believe, nor do I give second chances to anybody that I find out that is convicted of diddling kids. I don't give a fuck. I don't believe in forgiveness, not even to jail, like death penalty. There is no forgiveness. There's no redemption. No, not okay.
In videos, he'll be in thumbnails. He'll be around, and whenever he is, he's wearing a mask. Why would you wear a mask? Why would you conceal your face?
That's them.
What are you concealing? That you are a registered sex offender?
That's the person.
Your face. It's like he is. He's wearing a mask. Why would you wear a mask? Why would you conceal your face? It's like what are you concealing?
The bearded dude.
That you are a registered sex offender,
bro.
And that your face can be looked up on a thing. How much more can you literally cover up a sex offender with a physical mask? Like, do I have to? Is it more on the nose, or I don't know why they let him go, because there's rumors back and forth. So I don't know why they let him go, but he did leave at one point. Even if
I don't think it's like a conceivable argument that could be made that it was like somebody that they just didn't know. Because when you're on the registry, it's not like it fucking expires. You have to notify your employer, let alone your neighbors. Is
that
everyone with that beard just a kid toucher? I mean,
they still knew about it, and he was still around. And what if he's one of the people in the Discord servers? What if he's not? I don't know. But when I was there, they called him Delaware. It's like, why do you call him Delaware? I didn't know.
Because he's unincorporated?
Because he's not allowed to go back to Delaware.
What the fuck?
That's his nickname? Colloquially? Like, it's Delaware.
That's weird. That's weird. That's weird. That's weird. That's fucked up and weird.
The likelihood that he didn't know is astronomically low.
Yeah, no, there's no way that Jimmy didn't know.
Recorded phone conversation. The person on the other end of this line is a different former MrBeast employee talking about Delaware. Also, apparently before this phone conversation got recorded, the person on the other end of the line
Why are the pictures in the background all messed up?
The MrBeast team was actually trying to expunge Delaware's record off the registry, and that's what actually sparked this person to start recording.
What? It's a little creepy, like the way that this is playing.
Okay, so Reed is MrBeast's former manager who's in the last video telling Jimmy, hey, don't promote gambling to children. I think Reed's taken 2 W's this month. Don't promote gambling to children and don't have offenders on payroll. Also, yeah, just from where I'm sitting, it seems extremely unlikely that Jimmy wouldn't know. But I know I'm sure that's the defense he'll go with. So I'll just say preemptively, if somehow Jimmy didn't know about Delaware, I think it's still such an extreme level of negligence. Like, what, you're not doing background checks. You're not. Everyone at your company knows, but somehow you don't know.
Yeah, you're supposed to
I think that
know.
needs more of an explanation than just saying.
Did he not do? He didn't do
how
background
didn't you
check.
know?
He had
How
no.
did
There's
this person get
fuck.
into the company and a company that makes content for children and is around children. So yeah, Jimmy, I think we need an explanation from you, or you know, your lawyers and PR people and representatives and spokespersons and on how you could have not known that there was an offender at a high level in your company. And while you're responding to that, why not just respond to the allegations of rigging contest videos and selling fake signatures, running illegal lotteries?
We call them out.
You know, the dangerous conditions on the set of Beast games, you should address those too. So yeah, just let us know. Okay, that was my interview with former MrBeast employee Jake Weddle. I know he will be coming out with a longer cut of this interview as well as other content. So I just wanted to shout him out. Jake Weddle, top link in the description.
I've waited a long time to talk about a lot of this publicly, so thank you for doing what you're doing.
Aww.
So long.
Damn. Hot damn. That was a lot. Yeah, Jimmy certainly has a lot that he needs to answer for. That's for certain. If all of this happens and it turns out to be lies, that would be insane. The level, dude, I'm so speechless. Like, if all of that actually front to end was all proven to be farce after all of this work that he's going to put this out there, like necks are being put out, careers are being put out just to, uncover these things, and it ends up not being real. Bro, your ass is more than grass. Your ass is like beneath the surface of the soil. Like, you're not even swimming with the worms after that point. You are cooked. And not only, like, would there be no repercussions for anyone who's making accusations like that? I mean, fossilized, absolutely fossilized. But I don't know. I really don't. Fuck. Just hearing all of that. Oh yeah, no, like defamation is the minimum, you know? I'm really rendered speechless after hearing that. Like, again, I know that guy that he was interviewing is, someone who's in creative writing and an up and coming comedian. And he jokes about his dad and, whatever to help with the trauma, but like, he was definitely mistreated. Yeah. No, I see the keyboard. I mean, what else do you guys make about all of this? Also, I'm kind of hungry. Kind of wondering what I want to eat. Humans suck for certain. Yeah, and I can see a lot of people arguing that, like, well, it's not like you couldn't have ever left. Bitch, if you were enticed with thousands of dollars to do something that at face value seemed really easy, are you really gonna tell me that you're not gonna do it? That you don't have obligations that you would love to fulfill with that kind of money? Are you kidding me? You wouldn't do that? Bro. Guy who always seemed like an asshole shown to be an asshole all along. Breaking news! 10K for 10 days, easy money. Yeah, at face value, like, that sounds fantastic. But like, bitch, wouldn't even turn off the light for him to have a normal sleep schedule, because that would be ruining the immersion. Dude, just add cuts in the video. Why aren't you adding cuts in the video? Where oh my God. Ugh. Yeah, hundreds of thousands. They didn't even pay him out for all of it. I sleep during the day, so it's not much for me. But it seemed really ridiculous, a lot of the things that they put that guy through. Like, in no way did it sound like he was making unreasonable requests, They seemed like very reasonable, humane requests. Only to just be told that it would ruin the immersion. And then you also make the guy run a fucking marathon to where he gets blisters all over his feet, and days later he can't even walk because they're so painful. And the entire thing also fucked with his head so much that he had to get back onto a mental health line. And the therapist is scratching their head wondering, like, what the fuck am I gonna do about this? Like, this is a new level of psychology that I don't think is tapped into. And Jimmy was about ready to say, I hope you don't Come on. He knew what he was gonna say. Like, it was obvious. But not the immersion break. That's so fucked up. Okay, I'm glad that we got through that. That was a wild ride.